So let's open up Lightroom. All right, so we're going to begin in Lightroom. We have all of our images. We're in the library. Our images are DNGs. We're going to select one, go into Develop, and do our basic editing. So I'm going to start with the white balance. This image is a little dark for me to see too much of a difference. So I'm going to hold down the option to set my white points and my black points. And then play with bringing down the highlights, maybe opening up the shadows a little bit. Now I can go back in with the eyedropper, kind of see if I can find a neutral, which I probably, oh, that's actually not too bad. We've got blue in there, a little bit of yellow, it's still warm. I'm going to add a little bit of clarity. And normally we go down to the tonal curve and we adjust our contrast there. But I'm going to introduce two new tools in this video that I think you will like. If you have any noise, which this one shouldn't, you could work with the detail. And then as always, do the lens correction real quick. This one's probably pretty good, so auto's good enough. And then I know it was my Leica. So, okay, so we've got a good start. In Lightroom, you can do all of your basic editing, but we are going to adjust the curves and also burning and dodging in Photoshop. Now we've been burning and dodging with the K tool or the adjustment brush, right? And this is another way of doing it because for the rest of the semester, I'm going to push you guys into Photoshop. So you'll right click on the thumbnail, edit in Adobe Photoshop. Edit in Adobe Photoshop. There we go. Okay. And then it will bring it into Adobe Photoshop. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things. Let's get rid of these and take a look at our adjustments. So in Photoshop, you have the layers panel, which is very important, your history, your adjustments, and your properties. Those are the ones we're going to be working with. Now, if you don't know Photoshop, this can get a little intimidating, so just kind of pay attention to the 2 or 3 tools that I'm introducing you to, and then I'll introduce you to more and more each day. The first thing we're going to do is add curves. But one of the things I like about adding curves in Photoshop, and that is in the adjustment panel, 1, 2, 3, right there. When you click, it makes a new layer, and this is called an adjustment layer. Meaning, whatever you do here, you can turn on and off. Now, if you look at the histogram and you're not sure where to place the points along this histogram, along this line, grab this little hand. It's the targeted adjustment tool, and I love this. Because then you can select in the image, just drag up, and you can drag down, right? And when you click and drag, you are setting a point along that tonal curve. So you can just say, well, I want this to be a little brighter, or I want this to be a little darker. If you go too far and it gets a little crazy, all you got to do is get your preset, go back to default. You can also try some of the presets. But the point of using this is this targeted adjustment tool where you can say, well, I want this to be a little brighter, but I'd like this to be a little richer, a little darker. And you can see it created a very small S-curve. An S-curve in the curve panel increases contrast, and an inverted S-curve decreases contrast. Now, if you're like, I like that, that looks pretty good. It's a little extreme over in this corner. One of the things that you can do is take the opacity of this layer down, okay? And I'm also going to throw something at you that's a little confusing, but stick with me, okay? So, do you know what this is? It's a layer mask. Layer masks are the most powerful thing in Photoshop, and they are the thing that's used for compositing. So, when you make an adjustment layer, you get a layer mask for free. Comes right with the layer. If I love the way that this whole image looks, except through here, I can hide part of the curves adjustment to this part by selecting the brush with the letter B, making it larger, by using the brackets next to the letter P, going up to the top of the screen, changing my opacity of my brush from 100 to 50, zoom back out, and then with black and white in the foreground, you toggle those by hitting X for X-Men. You can see with black in the front and a reduced opacity, I am reducing the amount of curves in this section by masking it off. So whatever's white is showing through, but whatever is different shades of gray or black is hidden. So black hides and white reveals. And this is an important way to start thinking about contrast for different sections, and also adjustment layers. So I just kind of hyped that up a little so you can see with this on, the contrast is pretty great through here, but it would have gotten too dark through here. So I simply reduced how much of that was going through by using the brush on the adjustment layer. So this is a concept where we are going from global adjustments to local adjustments by using the layer mask. And we're going to continue that in the next video.